Hey there. Okay, let me see if I can do this. I want you guys to be able to fill out this soliloquy map, and remember what we're doing is we're tracking Hamlet's thoughts. Oops, not here. Yeah, soliloquies, thoughts. All right, soliloquy number 1. You can write this along with me. First thing we want to do is put down the line, Act 1, Scene 2, lines 129 to 159. And we want the first lines, this, to, and we're going to use solid. Flesh would melt, etc. Okay, I'm pulling this a little bit closer. All right, and then what we want to do here is you want to do a spots. So remember, all of his soliloquies are like, they're like poetry. So what's the subject? The subject is his own, like, personal torment over his mother's remarriage, his father's death, without a nod to it, of course, and his uncle's his uncle's disgust or corruption or something. Let's see, his uncle's lack of any kind of lack of nobility, let's put it that way. Definitely lack of status. All right, P is where we paraphrase. So you can paraphrase that. You can do a 3x3 here. You will have those, but you could say something like, Hamlet observes weeds, which I think we want to be able to look at this quickly and get a feel for what happens. Torment, that's the literal. Torment seeks accusation. So, he goes through and he just accuses his mother and then accuses his uncle, etc. What's the occasion? The occasion is Hamlet's homecoming. And brief reference to the father's passing. And then, of course, he's got the wedding and the coronation of his uncle. Okay, so a lot going on. That's what prompts, the occasion is what prompts it. The tone. I believe the first half is really a tone of, self-pity, just sorrow. He longs to just melt away, fade away. And then remember that tone only comes through literary device. So I would say imagery is really what sets the tone of self-pity or sorrow. When you're doing a tone paragraph, you only pick one. And then I would say the second half is accusatory. And he does this with allusion, with Greek allusions to Greek mythology. Okay. The title, obviously, that this too solid flesh would melt. The title just simply means, his desire to disappear. That's the title. But, really, in a sense, he does end up disappearing at the very end. Because really disappearing means he wants to hold his tongue, right? And by holding his tongue, he's going to really make nothing of it. We've got a spots, we've got the speaker. We kind of know already about the speaker, just overwhelmed, I would say overwhelmed, depressed, etc. And then that last T is the theme. And for Hamlet, his theme is grief leads to silence, maybe. Leads to, ranting. What do you do? Leads to anger, then silence. And that's really, we also want to see, I'm fitting a lot in here, but, we want to make sure that we always put down what's the resolution of a poem. Where does it end? And like a soliloquy, what's the resolution, if there is one? And for Hamlet, the resolution is to keep silent. And notice that there's no couplet at the end, which does tell us something. It tells us that he's not totally resolved about that. But it is interesting that he begins, so just make note that he begins by seeking to kind of fade away into nothingness, and his resolution is to do the same, to fade away into nothingness. And in between those two moments, he has all of this expression of angst and anger and frustration and hostility. Okay, so that's what we're doing with soliloquy number 1. What I'll do is I'll walk through soliloquy number 2 with you on another video, and then you are going to do the other soliloquies on your own.